Hello YouTubers. This is the third video where we get to start talking about variables in programming. Variables are basically spaces in memory that we use to store some values in it. So if you think about programming as a way to simulate something in the real world, don't think about the code that you're looking at. Think about what problem are you trying to solve and then use that code to solve that problem in the real world. So for instance, if I want to run a program that calculates the prices of a bunch of items that I have. So for instance, if I go and say integer item 1 price equals $10, integer item 2 price equals $20, and so on and so forth. If I want to calculate that value, I could store all these values in another variable, let's call it total price, and then add item 1 price plus item 2 price, and then print that out as a value, total price, like this. So when I run my program, it'll print out the total value of both of these prices. Programming is basically the art of describing a computer behavior to solve a problem. And when you try to solve problems, you're going to run into the situation where you need to save some values in places so you can manipulate that data. Values could come in different types, right? There is primitive types like integers, strings, byte, unsigned integers. And there are complex types that are made out of these types, right? So if I want to store a name, for instance, I could store a name in a string value. So let's call it name equal Hassan. Have you noticed something different in here? When I stored a string, I used double quotes. But when I stored numeric values, I didn't have to use anything. That's because strings structurally are fundamentally different than integers. The same thing goes with other types. If I want to manipulate that data, I get to use that data and add or subtract stuff from it. Programming is all about knowing how to describe the things that matter the most in the problem that you're trying to solve, and then visualize that to your end user. Don't get caught too much into the problem of, the mind games or mind teasing problems that try to solve unrealistic problems. Try to find a problem in real life and then try to resemble it. And I'm going to give you an example right now. Let's say this is a bottle of Pepsi, right? And I want to determine whether I can buy this bottle or not, based on some ingredients in this bottle. So I'm looking at this bottle right now. I see protein, I see sodium, I see total fat. All of these properties are integer values that I can contain in what I call complex type. So what I need to resemble in here, I could go in here and say, let's create a complex type. And let's call it Pepsi bottle. And now this Pepsi bottle could have a bunch of things in it. So I could go and say, what is the sodium in this? How much sugar? How much fat? And so on and so forth. I think, yep, sugar, protein, total fat, all that kind of stuff, right? And you get to add these values to determine whether you want to resemble that or not. So if I want to use that in here, I could go in here and say Pepsi bottle. And then I get to set these values into this one complex type. So let's say fat 0%, Pepsi bottle, sodium 10, Pepsi bottle sugar, I don't know, 20. So now you get to resemble that. This is all I want you to learn from this one video. how to look at things out there in the real world and how to resemble them, using these primitive types as a part of a complex types. For you as a homework to work on, go find out all the different primitive types that you can use, and then try to resemble a real problem in your life. Try to resemble a computer mouse, for instance. What can you look at in a computer mouse that you can resemble in a class? And if you have any questions or comments, just post that in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and like that video, and thank you for watching.